Okay, girl, yes.
He ran his whole household, organized all his staff, made sure the grounds were clean, the property secure, the supplies in place, instead of just focusing on his problem.
Hi guys, what it is, it's your girl Cadillac here on, oh yeah, it is recording. I am here on September, trying to get this little hair together. I'm here on September the 14th. Yes, I'm coming in before I do have to go to work. You know, I'm double timing it. I'm a YouTuber and I have that 9 to 5. So anyways, guys, if you know, last week I started drawing. Yes, that's Willie D. He is an American rapper. He is from the group Geto Boys. Yes, my mind playing tricks on me. Dun, 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 dun. Y'all remember that? I got big money. I drive big cars. Everybody knows me. It's like I'm a movie star, but late at night, something ain't right. Yes, y'all remember him. Yes, that was that jam. Even my mama liked it, the Geto Boys. Now, ain't that crazy? But anyway, so I started drawing Mr. Willie D live. He is now a YouTuber and a podcaster. Love him. Oh, he's honest, y'all. And that's what we need. So I started drawing him in my chiropractic appointment because I was live last week and I was trying to draw Miss Christina Randall. So, Willie D. Okay, so Willie D, I lost where I was. Oh, Jesus. Okay, so Willie D live. He's a rapper, and I started drawing him in my chiropractic appointment because I did go live last week, and I was trying to draw Miss Christina Randall. Like, if y'all watch her, please go check her out. She has kind of changed her content a little bit, where she was like basically a ex-prison YouTuber, like focusing on that, and that's where I kind of fell in love with her. But now she's more so into true crime, which is cool. I'm into that too, with the ID channel and stuff. Like, that's my favorite channel outside of YouTube, ID channel. But yeah, but what really made me fall in love with this girl was when she was doing her prison YouTubing. Yes. So I was trying to finish, you know, my project Reach the World. I am taking to YouTube now because we're not out and about. We're not meeting all the people like we were. So I gotta, you know, get this story and this content to somebody. So I'm gonna hit you guys here on YouTube. You could be the next YouTuber. You don't have to be a big YouTuber. You actually could be just, you know, on YouTube, just watching people or whatever, you know, like that. I'll start out like drawing YouTubers, but reach out to me. I mean, if I see that you're supporting me, baby, I could do a project Reach the World for you too, as long as you're going to you know, share it. Number one, you got to share it because we're trying to grow, and let people know the intent behind why I'm doing this project Reach the World. That's all you really got to do. And then of course, you know, you can get a custom piece of artwork. So I started this picture, but it got all raggedy like that. Like, I intend to send this, if he has a PO box, to his PO box, so I can't send this. So we're gonna sketch him really quickly. Oh, I got off track. So the point was, I was doing Miss Christina Randall and my hands kept cramping up. Like, every 5 seconds, I couldn't hold my pencil. I had to keep shaking out my hand because I had my phone in this hand, I had my pencil in this hand, and I had mentioned it, like right after that, I was rushing, first of all. And I went to my chiropractor and I was telling him, I was trying to draw and my hands just kept cripping up and this and that. So he did some adjustments and then he was like, okay, now let me see you draw something to see if it feels the same. So I was able to draw this full complete outline of Mr. Willie D without, you know, shaking my hands out. So we don't know how it's going to be today, but this one is all messed up. So I want to start over from scratch. So how you guys doing? So we're going to start drawing Mr. Willie D live. Yes. Bump, bump, bump. What to talk about? Bump, bump, bump. Hey, what to talk about? Yes, that's his little theme song. That song, that beat, when you hear that bump, 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 you already know he coming for somebody head. Yes. But, yeah, so that was just the job calling me, saying that I could take the day. Oh, baby, we is cool, because, you know, I have, you know, I'm a YouTuber first and foremost. I'm a 9-to-5er, you know, secondary. So things now, I don't know, things are kind of crazy. I feel myself drifting into depression, and I'm fighting it. It's like a waterfall. Like when you're trying to, like, secretly this weekend we went to go see what was that called? Me and my Bookie baby and my sister, we went to see dang, it's something about a lake. What's the name of that with The Rock? Gosh, what is the name of that movie? Lake. Oh, I can't remember it. But it was like the lake had a hold of them. I'll remember it later, of course. Like when I'm not trying to tell you guys the name of this movie, that's when I will remember it. But it was this one part where the boat was about to go down a waterfall, and they were fighting to not go down that waterfall. And that's what it feels like for me. That depression is a waterfall. It's a downward spiral. Like when I go into depression, and it becomes that nothing, you know, really matters, and I don't do things that I used to, you know, enjoy doing, or things that I thought were necessary. Maybe I don't enjoy it, but I really thought it was necessary. I start to think it's not so necessary, and I just go into survival mode. I just do enough just to get by. I do enough just to get through the day. And I don't want to go there, because I know that that is a very unproductive spot. When I get there, I'm unproductive. I'm not doing anything. I'm not, you know. So I don't want to go into that depression. So I'm trying to fight it. And it feels like that waterfall, like they were trying to struggle to not go down that waterfall. That's how I feel, trying not to go into depression. But the thing is, with me, it doesn't feel like things are too much getting better. It really kind of feels like things are getting worse. Like, I don't know. So I just found out today, I haven't heard from Marcello. So I go to, I give it a couple days, because I'm like, I don't know. It's always something that could be happening. They could be on lockdown. Anything. Your mind always jumps to the worst first when your loved one is in prison. The first thing you're going to think is usually the worst thing. So I try to give it time. I try not to jump straight to, you know, conclusions. So I hear from Marcello every single day. So if a day goes by and I don't hear from him, I know something is not, you know, something's wrong. I don't know what's wrong, but we're going to give it a day or two to, you know, see maybe if it, you know, to try to not overreact. That's what it is. It's that amount of time that you're not overreacting. You're just, you know, because things do happen. Maybe they were on lockdown. Maybe they weren't able to call out. Maybe this, and that. But now the whole weekend has went by and I haven't heard from him, and I email him and I haven't got any emails back. The last time I did email him, I said I am really getting worried, and I didn't get an email back. So at this point, I know I gotta call and see what's going on with him. And after years, it could be 2 years or maybe a year and a half, I don't know, he's in confinement and don't know why. You know, they transferred him way up the road, like as far as they could, away from home. And he still had a good adjustment transfer at first, but you know, he had just come from confinement before the shutdown, and he had to be out of trouble for so many years. So boop, that's out the door. He won't be transferring closer now because he's in confinement. So it never works out. And I know you guys are gonna say, oh, that's because you're so negative. And no, it's not, because I go into everything with positivity. I always think and wish and hope and pray for the best, but it just doesn't happen. So I don't think it's me. It's just, you know, I don't know. So I'm easy to accept, you know, negative things that happen. But yeah, so now he definitely won't be getting closer to home, because now that time frame, he has gotten some type of way. He's in confinement, which I guess it didn't matter how close he was to home anyway, because they did terminate our visits, said it was indefinite, and laughed at me. So I can't visit him anyway, and basically I was the only one visiting. So if nobody's visiting him, I guess it doesn't matter if he's far or close anyway. So that's going on. Work is kind of, it was really good. I was scared, you know, scared of new experiences, scared of the new, you know, how is it gonna be, and this and that. It's okay, but now I'm starting to see a couple people's real true personality, and I'm starting to see sometimes I'm on the receiving end of BS. Like, I don't come to work and be like nasty and rude to anybody, but you know, people tend to be nasty and rude to me. Not because I just allow people to treat me however, it's because a lot of things I feel like doesn't deserve my energy or attention. You could be small-minded all you want to, and I don't have to respond to it. Like, I don't have to respond to it. But at a certain point, when I feel like you are actually really just stepping on me and disrespecting me as a person, baby, I'm finna step. I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna say what I need to say. So now I'm starting to see that work is not really the bed of roses that I thought it was. It's not as cool and kosher and laid back as I thought it was, which is cool, whatever. You know, that's how life is anyway, and that's how most jobs are. But I just know I have to move in a different way. I have been fighting myself. I'm the nicest person you're ever, to be honest, ever gonna meet. You're not gonna meet another person, most likely. There are some out there, and I would love to meet you, like real people, like real friends, real family. Yes, I love the real people, but it's so hard to find them. Like, everybody has their own freaking motives and stuff, and everybody is in for things for help for themselves. So, or they'll support you because of this or that, or you have to beg for their support, but you help them day in and day out, but yet you have to beg for them to support you, which is foolishness. You'd think that people would remember, oh, you know, Keita helps me all the time, maybe I should help her. No, that is not how life is. Unfortunately, that's not how life is. That's how life was meant to be, though. That's exactly how it was meant to be. We were all supposed to help one another so that we all can have everything that we need. But we completely don't like doing things the way they were meant to be done. So, yeah. So just stress. Trying to not deal with the stress. Trying to keep hope as much as I can, but it's very difficult. I remember starting out of 2020. And I'm gonna flash back so you guys can see. So I was like, so if everything works out and he's just released all of a sudden, there would be nothing in place for him to come home to, or he won't have anything. So I started little by little purchasing objects for him, things for him. So this time I got his underwear. I'm gonna get him a little drawer. Next week I think I'm going out to get his tank tops, and I got his deodorant. So we're preparing for him to come home and get back to that frame of mind that I was at when I said that I felt that Marcello was coming home soon. It was a prophet, Barbara. Oh my gosh, I used to love to follow her or whatever, because it seemed like every time she would say something, it would always pertain straight to me in my life. So what she did say was that if somebody in her spirit, she felt somebody had a loved one in prison or in jail, and to believe by that they're coming home, and you have to put action behind it. So go buy them or purchase them something. This was years ago. I went back. Oh my gosh, this had to be like 2015 or something. I bought a little Axe aerosol spray deodorant for Marcello, because I always loved the smell of that. And when I worked at the super center, I used to smell them, and I'd be like, oh, I wish I had a man to put this on. But I didn't have no man, and I didn't want to purchase it for myself to wear. So I would just kind of smell them and sniff them all. So I purchased him one of those years and years upon years ago. I did see another post that she said where the chains were broken, and finally everything that held you back will no longer hold you back. And I felt like that was for me. And oops. I felt like that was for me. And I started, like I said, I kind of fell off with believing that Marcello would come home due to it taking so long. And rather than him coming home, it's looking like he's getting further and further and further and further away. So I'm trying to block that out my mind. I'm going to chill with that situation. So I am here today just to show you the newest thing that I purchased for Marcello. I went, I started, we're doing this thing now. I first bought his boxers, so now I have his tees, tank tops. Yes, just pick these up. $14, pack of 6. Not sure if they're the right size, because like I said, DOC have those weird sizes. So I was talking about Marcello being released. This was the year that Marcello was going to be released. There's this prophetess that I used to follow on Facebook, and it was so crazy. Before my mother passed, oh, her posts used to get me through. So this was like around 2015 or so, like that. Her posts, like, she's right. Every time I would read one of her posts, I'm like, oh my gosh, that pertains to me. Like, oh my goodness, that pertains to me. Wait, oh my gosh, that pertains to me. And I don't know, it's something about the Facebook algorithm, which I haven't cracked quite yet. I know a little bit about Facebook algorithm, which it freaking sucks. Facebook sucks. The most engagement you will get on Facebook, what I do realize, is going to be from stories. When you upload stories, that's going to be about the because that they push more than anything. And I notice people see my stories more than anything on Facebook. But your regular posts, that's garbage. People don't really look at that. I don't know, it's just suckish. But I do keep my, only because of the connections that I have on there, meaning that's the community that I built that is actually into prison reform and prison related content. So that's why I keep the Facebook because I like to be in those groups, seeing what's going on and this and that. But you don't really get support out of those groups, which is so foolish. Like, why be on on Facebook, trying to fight for, criminal justice reform and this and that, but you won't help the next person alongside that's fighting for the same thing that you're fighting for. So yes, I don't know. The criminal justice thing, okay, when you're fighting for your loved one, it is also a very selfish area, because you're fighting for your loved one, right? You're not fighting for my loved one. I'm fighting for my loved one. Well, actually, baby, I support other people, so we can't use me as an example, but we're just gonna say right now, I fight for my loved one. I'm not fighting for your loved one. So everybody is fighting this big ass system that has all these people fighting together for nonsense, because they ain't for justice, but they all fighting together, right? But we're fighting individually. I'm fighting for my loved one. You're fighting for your loved one. She's fighting for her loved one. He's fighting for his loved one. So we're all single-handedly, all of us, even though it's a lot of us fighting, we're all single-handedly fighting this big ass machine. Not knowing that if we come together and fight together, I can fight for my loved one. I can fight for your loved one. I can fight for her loved one, his loved one, and we all together are stronger. Right. But I guess people never really understand that. So there are a lot of people fighting, but we're all fighting individually, and it's not really moving the actual criminal justice reform forward. It is a little bit creeping forward, but that's because it's been for years that people have been fighting single-handedly. So it's a lot of people fighting. But if we ever once came together, like say, okay, you did start supporting me with Project Reach the World. Okay, so really, guys, I'm sorry. I redrew the outline. I just redrew that because that was all messed up, and I dare not send that to his inbox or anything. So if we ever did come together, I mean, it could possibly make that change that we needed, but it's just trying to get humans to work together is just not, it's very hard. I don't know why it's so hard. We've been conditioned to, just survive, just make it. Don't worry about the next person. You just make sure you make it. And that's why we stay so screwed up, because we don't care about the next person. But we actually need the next person. You need me. You actually do. But yeah, so I wanted to expand my channel to start talking about other wrongfully convicted citizens, because it's not, I see so much more and more. It's not just Martello. Actually, that's the whole thing. Like, it should bother folks that there are people in prison that don't deserve to be there. That really should bother, like, everybody. Everybody should be bothered by that. But for some reason, it doesn't bother you until it's your loved one, or until it's you, then it bothers you. But by that time, it's too late, honey. It's way too late. Anybody that has a son, specifically, because the system is geared to target men. Targets men. Targets black men. Now, it does target other nationalities of men, yes, of course. But the biggest target is the black man. And of female and male, the biggest target is going to be the men. They're targeting the men. So if you have sons, you should be concerned Even if you're raising your sons to be upstanding citizens, to do this, to do that, you never know who your son is interacting with when they go to school, online. Do you know everybody that your son is interacting with online? Like, it's so many, like most people they get in trouble with the law behind being around somebody else. You definitely got to watch the circles you run in. You have to. Like, people will screw you up, and as soon as something goes down, they will definitely be throwing you under the bus. And the system knows that, and the system uses that, and they use you against the next person. And they try to they know somebody's gonna roll. Somebody wants to get out this situation, and that's how most of these convictions come about, the willing and dealing and stuff like that. Okay, so there's the eyes. I don't know if I'm seeing the reflection or if I'm actually seeing the recording, but there's the eyes. So yeah, it's so crazy. It was just like, I seen a post today saying, would you trade places with a wrongfully convicted person? And whew, that's very like, would you? Ooh, baby. Would I trade places with Marcello? Ugh. I don't know if I could do that time like that. I'm not tough enough to do that time. I don't know. I love him to death, which is so crazy. Would I die for him? Yes, 100%. But would I trade places with him in prison and finish his wrongful conviction? I don't know. I feel like I could get more done out here, than, if I was in there. And then it always comes that question that, if you were in prison, would they be waiting for you, or would they be fighting for you? And I have asked Marcello that before. I said, baby, I already know you. If it was the other way, you probably you would have got the next girl. The next girl walking, you probably would have cried for me, maybe, possibly, maybe that night. Who knows? But after that probably would have been it. I doubt you would have waited no 20 years for me. But he says that he would have, and I'm like, okay, I'll let you have that. Of course you're gonna say that. But he says he would have, but he said it wouldn't have been no 20 years because he would have been found a way to get me out. So but yeah, so that question to me raises more of a question of, would you trade places? But it makes it to where it feels like anybody, no matter how good you've been, no matter how much you've done, no matter how much education you've received, no matter what, you could be liable for a wrongful conviction. The system is too big and powerful, and they don't have to go by the rules that they set forward. They do not go by the rules they set forward, just to let you know that. But they don't have to either, because nobody's holding them accountable, right? They have relationships with everybody, from the law enforcement, to the judges, to the prosecutors. They all have relationships. It's a will and deal game. It's a, hey, do this favor for me, I'll do that favor for you thing. That's what it's about. It's not about right and wrong. So anybody could be subject to a wrongful conviction. And that makes it very, very, very scary when it's like, that's almost like spinning a wheel, and if the wheel falls on you, hey, you're the one wrongfully convicted. Well, it's actually that detrimental. It sounds like I'm being sarcastic, but no, it actually can be like that. It means anybody could be wrongfully convicted at any point in time. And if you know that, it seems like it should cause an outrage, but it actually doesn't. Nobody really cares until it is them or their loved one. Nobody really even cares. So, hey Siri, turn off low power mode.
Okay, low power mode is now off.
So it's like, it can happen to anybody, and we should care. Like, that would make you care more that, hey, I could sporadically just be wrongfully convicted, or my husband or my son could just sporadically be wrongfully convicted. Like, that would cause outrage. And I said that, you know, the justice system is the only place where nobody cares about, you know, wrongful, you know, paying for something you didn't do. What if it was like mortgages, unpaid mortgages, and they were like, well, somebody has to pay this mortgage, so hey, you're gonna do it, you're gonna pay for it. And you're like, hold on, I don't even have a house, what are you talking about? I'm gonna pay this mortgage. Like, if that got out and people were like, oh my gosh, they have this thing where they're making people pay other people's unpaid mortgages, do you know how much outrage would come about? Or let's say like credit card debt. Someone was like, hey, you know, this person has all this credit card debt. They're not paying their minimum balances. So, you know, just unfortunately, somebody has to pay it. So it's going to be you. You have to pay for this. And you're like, wait a minute, I don't even have a credit card. That's not even me. I wasn't even at the store. Like, do you know? People would be so outraged that, oh my gosh, what if it happened to me? What if they made me pay somebody else's bill? What if they... Do you know how much outrage would come about because of that? Why isn't it that way with wrongful convictions? When you hear about, hey, somebody's been wrongfully convicted, most times you don't believe them in the first place, right? That's the first thing that you're met with. Like, yeah, whatever. Come on. There's no way. There is no way. You had to have done something. You had to have done something. Or, you know, you did do this, so I guess you some type of way deserve it. You know, you did that, so you deserve it. Whatever happens to you. That's like saying, hey, you know, you did... Okay, let's find a good example. Oh, okay. Just like the one where I was using with the credit card. Okay, so you did pay your credit card bill late. So because you paid it late, I guess it makes sense that you would just have to pay somebody else's, you know, credit card balance. Something like that. It still wouldn't make sense. You'd be like, okay, yeah, I did that, but that doesn't warrant me having to pay somebody else's, you know, it still wouldn't make sense. You still would be outraged. So why are we not outraged now? But most people are like, no, you had to have done something. No, there's no way. You have to go to court. They cannot bring up charges on you and you ain't did nothing. They have to have evidence. They have to have, if they got you in jail, they got something on you. They gotta have something on you. This is what you're hearing. And you're like, no, baby, I'm telling you the truth. Well, you gotta be leaving something out. There is no way they can do that. They cannot do that. Like, that's against the law. The law? Are you for real? That's against the law. Like, baby, the law is only for certain people. Everybody don't have to follow the law. You know, they don't have to follow the law. We have to follow it. We have to follow it to a T. But they don't have to follow it. But this is how these wrongful convictions happen. And this is how they stand. Because nobody fights against them. And if it is, it's just you by your lone wolf self fighting a wrongful conviction. She's over there by her lone wolf self fighting a wrongful conviction. So we're all scattered out. And we have no voice. There's no place you can go. There's no place where you can, like, even organizations that say that they fight this stuff, they don't do anything. Which is crazy, but they don't. They do not. All them people that jump in, saying, you know, certain lives matter and this and that. They don't jump in and help when you're wrongfully convicted at all. They don't care about that. So you pretty much, it boils down to you do the time for something you didn't do. And that's where we're at. That's where we're at. It makes me, I guess, look crazy, feel crazy. I see all my friends have moved on in their lives. They've gotten married. They've had kids. They've, you know, did everything in their life that they really wanted to do. And they're just on the other side, just chilling now. Or if they are divorced, you know, they at least had that family moment. And now they're finding them and this and that. It's like, I never got that. This happened when I was 20 years old. I was basically a baby. I was a new adult. And that family was just snatched from me. Like, snatched. It wasn't just taken. It was snatched. It was like I finally just found love. After all this time, I finally just found love. And now you found something you never thought you would have. And now that you have it, hey, we're taking it from you. So it's like I never would have, had I never found love in the first place, I would have been okay. It's like when they say, is it better to have loved and lost than never loved at all? No, it's better to never loved at all. To never loved at all. Because before Marcello, I really did not know love. And I would have been okay. Like, I was fine with being by myself. I was fine with, you know, not really having.